Have you ever wondered where the absolute heavyweights, the massive corporations and institutional giants, actually park their cash? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're literally following the smart money. We're using a purely data-driven lens to uncover exactly which asset management companies are capturing the trust and, honestly, the massive wallets of major institutional investors for FY 2026. If you want to know exactly where the market's true foundation lies, you're in the exact right place.
Let's just bypass the slow intro completely and drop a truly staggering statistic right out of the gate. 40%. A massive 40% of the entire Indian mutual fund industry's assets under management comes strictly from institutional investors. We aren't just talking about everyday retail investors putting away a chunk of their monthly paychecks here. We're talking about the absolute foundation of the market. This is the financial bedrock, plain and simple.
And to put the sheer scale of that 40% into perspective, we are talking about an absolute Goliath of a figure, 32 lakh crore rupees. Just let that sink in for a second. 32 lakh crore. This is the exact capital that dictates broader market trends, provides massive liquidity, and anchors the long-term stability of the biggest funds in the entire country.
Where the money originates, slicing the 32 lakh crore pie. So we know the total size of the pie, but who exactly is writing these massive checks? Well, the breakdown is completely lopsided. Corporates provide a staggering 30.72 lakh crore rupees. They are absolutely dominating this space, vastly, and I mean vastly outweighing the contributions from banks, which sit at a mere 1.28 lakh crore, and foreign investors who bring in just over 3,500 crore. So the crucial takeaway here, when we talk about institutional money in Indian mutual funds, we are overwhelmingly talking about corporate India's treasury. It's corporate cash that fuels the whole engine.
Top AMCs by total volume, the heavyweights. Now that we've got a handle on the immense scale and the source of this money, let's identify the specific fund houses capturing the highest absolute volume of this corporate capital.
There is a massive, undeniable gap at the top. SBI Mutual Fund leads the pack by a country mile with 6.32 lakh crore in institutional assets. They're effectively the reigning champions of corporate trust. ICICI Prudential comes in second with 4.39 lakh crore, and HDFC follows with 2.86 lakh crore. Even among the absolute giants of the industry, SBI stands in a league entirely of its own.
But let's peel back another layer, because this is fascinating. This institutional money isn't just a nice little bonus for these top funds. For SBI Mutual Fund, this corporate capital makes up a massive 52% of their total assets. That means more than half of everything they manage is institutional. For ICICI, it's 41%, and for HDFC, it's 32%. This shows a deep, fundamental institutional reliance at the very top of the mutual fund food chain. They are heavily anchored by these corporate giants.
Beyond the top three, we enter a very exclusive club. 7 fund houses in the industry manage over 2 lakh crore each in institutional assets alone. You've got Nippon India at 2.77 lakh crore, Kotak at 2.57 lakh crore, followed really closely by ABSL and UTI. Axis, Tata, and Edelweiss round out this heavy-hitting list. These firms are clearly the go-to, trusted destinations when corporate treasuries need to deploy capital safely and effectively.
Highest institutional percentage leaders, the plot twist. What actually happens when we stop looking at total volume and instead ask which AMCs are proportionally the most dependent on this money? You see, total volume only tells half the story. When we compare our volume kings, like SBI with its 52% institutional AUM, against our percentage kings, a totally different picture emerges. We see smaller or newer funds that have a significantly higher concentration of institutional backing. The overall pie might be smaller, but almost the entire pie belongs to institutions.
Leading this proportional charge is Jio BlackRock. A striking 75% of its total AUM comes directly from institutional channels. 3/4 of their entire fund base? No way, right? They're followed closely by LIC Mutual Fund at 68% and Angel One at 66%. For these AMCs, retail money is currently just a drop in their bucket compared to the heavy corporate anchor they rely on. They're almost exclusively built on institutional trust.
And actually, it's really vital to note that it's not just the new entrants playing this percentage game. Established names like Shriram, UTI, Edelweiss, ABSL, and Tata all cross that 50% threshold too. This proves that heavy reliance on corporate money isn't some weird anomaly, it's a deeply ingrained industry-wide structural trend. Half of the money managed by these powerhouses is quite literally smart institutional money.
The final provocative takeaway. Let's wrap this up by looking at what this heavy concentration of corporate wealth means for the broader market ecosystem and ultimately what it means for you. With a staggering 32 lakh crore footprint completely defining the landscape, the ultimate question is this. With corporate funds heavily anchored in top AMCs, will savvy retail investors soon follow the strategies of these institutional whales? If the absolute smartest corporate treasuries in India trust these specific fund houses with trillions of rupees, should everyday investors start mimicking the smart money? It's a fascinating dynamic to consider as you evaluate your own portfolio. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes on where the big money moves.